So, yeah. Hmm. 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 Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm paradoxic, as many of you will know by now, and there's a bit of an awkward story behind this reaction, isn't there? I think, well, for those of you who remember, there's a bit of an awkward story. For those of you who don't remember, then you're probably, this probably going to feel really super new to you, or feel like a bit of a refresher. But yeah, this show, The Haunting of Bly Manor. So yeah, this came out last year. This came out, I think, around like around this time last year, around this like last Halloween. Because it's a horror series, and stuff like continuing on from The Haunting of Hill House is a horror series. So what better time to release it than around Halloween? And what I did, right? I actually did. I think for those who can, I mean, if you look back in the channel, like back in like to like last October or September, like somewhere around that time, you were probably, I mean, actually October, because I think like whenever it was released, like a week or like a couple of weeks after it was released, I actually did decide, oh, I'm gonna get into this show. I'm gonna start doing reaction to this, and then posted the reaction to the first episode, and I loved it. And I thought, and I said back then, I'm gonna be doing a reaction to this entire series and everything. So buckle in and get ready. And now it's 1 year later. So not my best work, not my finest work in terms of doing reactions, admittedly. But yeah, I think back then, I think it's just like the simplest kind of reason of like it like I maybe even partially let myself fall off the tracks with like amidst the other shows I was doing, and it's like I am, if you don't know by now, then I have terrible time management. I have terrible time management, so I think like things started piling on top of each other, and I kind of like me being me, and as much of a procrastinator as I am, I like part of me just kind of let them pile on top, and then and until like I was like, okay, I'm gonna continue these things, and then I'll get to these things soon, I swear. And like I said, it's now 1 year later, so yeah. So I mean, I've the entire year that has passed, I've been swearing to myself and swearing to the channel that I would actually return to the show and finish it ASAP. And now that's finally happened. Now, what better time than 1 year later? So, yeah. For those of you who do still remember it, welcome back. We're back with another reaction for The Haunting of Bly Manor. So the show is back. But yeah, despite how long it's been, I still have every single possible human intention, every single humanly possible intention to finish this series and everything. I even actually swore off even like actually catching up on my own time once the show had been out for a while, and I felt like the hype had died down a bit. I even promised myself, no, I'm gonna do a reaction. I started a reaction to this. I'm gonna finish a reaction to this. Because I'd only just started this. I think it felt like it could be really easy because I had only done an episode of the first reaction, so it wasn't really kind of that I wasn't really that far into it, just like the first episode, so I could easily just kind of bypass it and never come back. But I was like, no, Bly Manor, I'm doing this. I am doing this. So here I am back again. So yes, I mean, I'd say sorry to have kept you waiting, but like a year seems like a lot, like a long time, and I feel like sorry doesn't necessarily quite cut it. And I think the sad part is there's actually like a couple of other shows that have kind of fallen under that kind of bandwagon of me not having reacted to them for over a year now. So to all of you, I am so deeply sorry about that. But yeah, The Haunting Bly Manor is just one of many that one of a few anyway that have actually been set to come back. So Halloween 2021. And also, coincidentally enough, I think, well, yeah, yes, coincidentally enough, Liam Duke is also doing an amazing series of reacting to this, leading in the days leading up to Halloween. So definitely go check his videos out. You know, I think seeing him posting his reactions to, I think might have been the actual motivating thing for me too. Like actually seeing another reactor actually jumping this, being like, oh, I remember how much I wanted to get into the show and how much I loved the first episode. I'm really gonna get back into this show now. So thank you to Liam Duke for providing that, like, albeit unintentionally, kind of providing that kind of pick me up for me personally to continue on and get into this show and everything. So thank you to him. But yeah, so the Haunting of Bly Manor. So I actually did rewatch the first episode like a couple of weeks back in preparation for this, just to fully refresh my memory and to actually catch up on like all the details and stuff. I think I remembered like I think up like before I did that, I only really remember like character names and stuff, so not like too much of actually what happened. So now I've actually rewatched the first episode. Now I have a much like a an adequately more kind of vivid memory of what the first episode was like, so it should be, it definitely should be fun getting back into it and everything. So we are now on to episode 2, and I know I think since then Netflix and Mike Flanagan too, like the guy who makes all of the like this particular kind of series of horror shows, like he's been doing one I think pretty much every year or every couple of years. I think last year he did Bly Manor. I think Bly Manor was definitely like last year or like late last year, and then now just like a month ago he did Midnight Mass too. Midnight Mass, I've seen nothing but overwhelmingly positive support and reception for that series too. So I want to avoid saying anything in case that just gets that ends up getting the same treatment from me as Bly Manor. I'm really avoiding saying anything, but I think hey, maybe one day, maybe soon after this, or maybe one day. But Midnight Mass, I've been hearing nothing but good stuff about it. So who knows what's in the cards? Who knows what's in the hat of magical tricks and potential future reactions and everything? So maybe one day, maybe soon, maybe one day, but maybe it's a maybe, So, but being seeing the reviews and support for that, like when it first came out too, and even kind of now today, like even with people still discovering it and rewatching it and stuff, it's been very, very kind of magnetic, like actually pulling me into actually into checking the show out too. So yeah, Midnight Mass maybe. But for now, let's focus on the Haunting of Bly Manor. It's been way too long. Let's focus on Bly Manor for now. So episode 1, we met Danny Clayton, played by the lovely Victoria Pedretti, who was also Nellie Crane in Hill House and everything. So she is playing a new au pair for the kids, Flora and Miles, at Bly Manor and everything. And I think a very interesting introduction for her in the last episode too, her actually going, like her having actually moved to London, actually finding a new job and everything, and actually only really having experience having taught kids in a classroom before, and not actually having been like a much more personal kind of home kind of tutor or anything. So she was going to be like a full-time live-in au pair for the two kids, and we met the two kids, Flora and Miles, very as suspicious and creepy as you can expect kids in in like any kind of horror kind of property to be. Like kids are always the ones who are just played off to be like the ones in kind of deep connection with spirits, and the ones who are like always seeing things that you as an audience member can't, and even the characters inside can't, and stuff. So Flora and Miles are definitely being played off to be those kinds of like sixth and seventh sense kind of kids who can see ghosts, and Flora makes little talismans and stuff of all the different kind of ghosts that she sees, and then Miles is just Miles did some pretty sus stuff in the last episode, so hopefully he moves past that, and hopefully he moves beyond that kind of behaviour. So hopefully. But I mean, to be fair, I think we did get like a pretty tragic backstory for them too. Like first, their parents died. I think their parents died abroad. I think Wingrave mentioned their parents died abroad. I can't remember if it was. I think he meant. I think again. I watched it a couple of weeks ago. I think I vaguely remember him mentioning like an accident of some sort, but they died abroad. So then the kids I think are still stuck in London, and I think Miles also just came home from boarding school too, so he's kind of back home early before the season ends and everything. And then they lost their previous au pair who was living with them too. Like she had a tragic backstory of being just so suited for the job and really performing well at the job, but then she fell in love with a guy. Guy was a douchebag. He ran off, and then that broke that broke her heart. And then I think her name was Rebecca Jessel. She like broke her heart, so then she rather unfortunately committed suicide and drowned in the lake and everything. And then the kid found her. Like I think it was actually Flora who found her, and then Jamie, the gardener, found her. And I think so. The kids are just devastated from two losses in the space of like I think like a few years or like a couple of years or something. So really, really sad stuff. So yeah, so now I think I think that kind of trauma, that tragedy and that trauma that stemmed from the tragedy, has kind of made them like a bit like fish in barrels for spirits and evil stuff and like spiritual stuff going on at the house to actually kind of like latch onto and feed off of and everything. It's actually made them the perfect kind of conduits for any malevolent stuff going on. So Yeah, but then I think in a more human way, they do definitely have that kind of trauma that's kind of affecting them and actually making them process things in different ways and making them do different things and stuff and treating Danny like this too. So yeah, Flora and Miles, they are the two kids, and Danny is the new au pair, so that's fun. We've also met like a handful of other characters too. Owen, the driver, played by Rahul Kohli. He's been in a bunch of different stuff, and now and I think he's had like I think besides from Hill House, Bly Manor, and he's also in Midnight Mass too. He's also in Midnight Mass. Bly Manor and Midnight Mass are the only two products from the same creator that he's actually been in, but he has been phenomenal in this. He's been in one episode so far, but he's been great. He's been nothing but delightful, and he plays mostly a cook, but he is also like whenever Wingrave needs him to be, he is also a driver. But he is a much better cook, and he makes breakfast, lunch, and dinner for them, and he lives in Bly and everything. So he's been delightful, or as Flora would call him, perfectly splendid. He's been perfectly splendid. So that's great. But yeah, we met him. We met Hannah Gross as well, played by Tania Miller, and she is. I think she also just kind of lives at the house and actually is like somewhat of like a housekeeper, groundskeeper type of person. But she kind of like comes in and she kind of like she like in her own words she prefers the company and she likes the company and everything. So she comes in and stays and does her thing and she's just around and she loves the kids too and she seems oddly distant too. She doesn't really kind of take much. She doesn't really eat much or drink much or anything. I mean, eating much, she doesn't really eat much in a kind of suspicious way. But then drinking, I think Danny had been practicing trying to make some tea and stuff, but it wasn't really going too well. So I mean, no one really drank the tea, so there was that problem. But she tried, but it didn't really go down well. So that was Hannah, and then we had the gardener as well, Jamie. We had the gardener. She hasn't really had much screen time at all. I think like the first episode, she just had kind of like a really basic kind of introduction and stuff. But she also seemed kind of kind of distant and like not necessarily cold, but just kind of distant and more kind of kind of gate like passing by towards towards Danny and everything. So yeah, not much from her yet, but again, it was only the first episode. It was only the first episode, so plenty more stuff to go, and plenty more to be invested in and to delve into. So that's fun. And Rebecca Jessel, she was the older one. So I think I'm wondering if we actually might have need to, or might actually get to explore some of her story in this, like with flashbacks or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see where that takes us. But yeah, then there's good old horror stuff too. We see like in almost any reflective surface, we see like a ghost with really shiny, goggly kind of eyes too, and like they're in the mirror in the cupboard, in a passing taxi, like in almost any like reflective surface, like that kind of that ghost with really shiny, glowy eyes is there. So curious to know what the story is behind those eyes and that particular face and everything. So yeah, and I think so far, they just haven't. It's like the horror has been teased very much. I think the first episode only really teased like a little bit of the horror and everything. It didn't really kind of go into much. It didn't really. It spent like a lot more time kind of world building and actually character building and character introducing and everything. Like instead of before actually getting into much of the horror, but it had some really creepy shots and really creepy atmospheric moments. So it did its job there. So yeah, now delving into the second episode. Took a lot longer to say that than I thought than I realized. So going forward from here, we know what needs to happen. So yeah, that is all I picked up from the first one. So on to episode number 2 of The Haunting of Bly Manor. So on to the reaction, and as you guys will know by now, this will just be the fair use version with the highlights and best bits and all that. But if you want the full-length version, then that one will be over on Patreon, so you can go check it out over there. So that'll be cool too. But yeah, The Haunting of Bly Manor, Season 1, Episode 2. Well, I say Season 1, there's only one season of this, but Episode 2. Let's go.
Miles, it's just
Where's he going? He's throwing it down the trash chute? That's the trash chute, right?
Oh, please.
He just threw it in the trash? Can he do that? Is the ghost not going to get pissed off?
That was entirely unacceptable, and now you are going to finish mopping.
Oh.
But that's not fair.
It's just a bit of mud.
Oh, nice bit of Uno reverse.
Hi, Owen.
Flora?
Come on.
I don't like the cellar. It's perfect.
Oh, the cellar. Oh, it's perfectly dreadful. She has a new phrase. She has polar opposite phrases. Splendid and dreadful.
I quite hate the cellar. It's perfectly dreadful.
Perfectly dreadful. That is a new one. She spent like the entire episode last time saying perfectly splendid. Now she has dreadful. That's an upgrade or an update.
Of course.
There's no light, is there? Oh no, there is. Oh, the one light bulb. Oh, of course, it's the one you have to. Jeez. Why is it standing up? There is no reason. There is. It's the actual like the laws of physics would forbid that from standing up. If you're being reasonable here, it would forbid that thing from standing up. The chances of it landing perfectly like that without spiritual intervention, uncanny or unlikely. Oh, there's so many who needs that many dolls? Even in a cellar. That is asking for dodgy business. Oh, hell no. Like I said, dodgy business. Dodgy business. Risky business. And not the fun kind. 6 months ago. What happened 6 months ago?
Find our seats, shall we?
No, this must be his boarding school, right? This must be his boarding school.
Congratulations.
Is this a religious
Seems like
boarding
you've made
school
it
then?
through the winter, though
He's
not
got
without
a
a few casualties.
priest
I'm
strike
afraid
thing.
Brian Duncan won't be joining us for a bit. See, evil exists, and we are tempted, but we're not compelled. So yes, they did need his permission.
So even possession would be of their own free choice to make. Which it could happen through manipulation, yeah. And it's how the ghosts are affecting Flora and Miles too, so yeah. That's a pretty high spot to climb.
It's nearly time. Shall we go down?
You might want to.
Trouble began as trouble often does, with an accident.
Oh no, did he
So it would
fall?
be called.
Did he fall? Because he's fine in the present day, so I'm assuming whatever he had must have healed, but did he still fall? Don't look down. Looking down will not help. Looking... Oh, a broken arm. That's it. A broken arm.
You can have the bottom bunk.
That's considerate.
Why'd you do it?
Do what?
Why'd you jump?
I didn't jump. I fell.
I saw you jump.
I fell.
Well, you pretty certainly let go. So, you were
Yeah,
willing to
well-
fall.
If you ever need anything, I'm here for you, mate. Okay?
Aww. I'm loving that he actually has friendship in the boarding school at least.
Good night, Miles.
Or at least one friend, you know, one friend. As long as you got that one, then it'll all be alright in the end.
What is it, Mr. Baxter?
Oh, fight! A fight! There's a fight! Who's fighting? Who the hell's fighting? Miles? Miles and Hooper? I thought they were friends. Well, no. Is it Miles? I think it is Miles. They were literally friends the night before. Oh god, he's actually...
Hooper! Are you okay? Can you breathe?
He actually choked the kid out.
Hooper's parents. They could push for a suspension, and the headmaster will want to monitor.
Oh, is this why he got kicked out? This could have been why he actually got
I
kicked
put
out.
myself ahead
And he
of
left
that. The
early.
headmaster and I have already spoken. None of us are blameless, except the soul that's not yet conceived and the animals, like Pidge over there.
Pinch.
They're the only innocents. And death is something to mourn, not fear.
Oh, so at this point his parents would have
You've had
died
to deal
then.
with death
Yeah.
far, far more than a child your age should.
But has the other has Jessel died too, or just the parents?
Play, Smile.
Oh no. Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. Oh, is that Miles? Is he gonna come out of nowhere and attack the teacher or something? What does he see? Oh, Pidge! He broke Pidge's neck!
Master Wingrave,
He broke Pidge's
you've
neck!
got to say
He killed the bird!
anything at all.
Demonstrating remorse won't make all of this go away. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is the first step towards some kind of absolution.
I don't think he has remorse. I think that's the
Towards
problem.
grace. Your parents and your au pair.
Okay, so
More
she
than we
is
could hope
dead.
to understand.
Don't.
Together, you
I'm
and I.
sorry. I didn't do worse. Cut
Whoa.
off its head. Spread out the insides. Burn it.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry I didn't do worse.
He's sorry he didn't do more than just break its neck.
Right.
He was expelled, it turned out, for an injury, an accident, a crime, a fight.
A series of unfortunate events.
So
Come
hard
home.
to be sent home.
Flora wanted it home, so I think he actively fought for ways to get sent home too. There's a Star Trek poster. Does Star Trek have been out in this time? There's a Star Trek poster on that wall. Or is it maybe a different Star Trek? Does she have voodoo dolls? Does she actually have any voodoo dolls? Or is it just talismans that start manifesting ghosts?
She'll think it's just splendid.
Perfectly.
Splendid.
Perfectly splendid. That is a Star Trek poster on the wall.
Hannah's got the day off, it seems.
And your missus booked the children church.
Yeah.
Oh, they can do gardening too, yeah. They can.
How they doing? Perfectly.
Uh,
I could get used to this. You're loving having this wee break.
Suppose.
oh, she's
I
Scottish?
just don't like seeing them punished,
Ah.
is all.
That's
We're
cool.
not the first to track mud through the halls, and you should know. Every time I see you marching towards the house, I find my hand drifting towards a mop.
Rebecca coddled him. Someone's got him doing hard labour.
Oh, come on now.
What? That shite works. Well, it works on me. Look at me now. I'm a shining beacon of reform. Oh,
She does
thank
look
God
great
you're
in
a star.
some denim overalls.
On a scale of 0 to American.
0 to American.
American.
Okay.
There we have it.
Uh,
They're
very
really too
American.
pretty. Do you think she's pretty, Owen? Look at him. His tongue-tied. We can't answer.
It's just romances don't fare well at Bly, do they?
We just have to laugh.
I know, but then that's how it starts.
Don't they?
I only have eyes for you, Hannah.
Oh.
Enjoy your break, ladies.
Well, would you look at that?
Where exactly?
She
Her
definitely has a
vibe
vibe about
is
her,
down
I'd
to
say.
the ceiling,
Jamie
you can't
definitely has
miss
a
I don't
vibe about her. Oh, whoa.
You cross with me?
What the fuck? Did she dress up in her clothes? Did she? What? No. Oh. Well, she's definitely
I
different.
found these too. I didn't break them. I promise.
Are those her glasses?
Excuse me a minute.
Oh no, Danny. Danny, you okay? You okay? Oh. Oh no. Oh.
You alright? So I prefer plants. Easy to get along with.
No, probably not Scottish. I
And I
think.
find if I don't
No,
like one,
not really
one looks at me
Scottish.
kind of funny.
Liverpool. I get Liverpool kind of. Yeah, I can sense kind of like a little Hudleyianness in her accent.
I cry 3, maybe 4 times a day around here.
Hmm.
5, if I'm really being honest with myself. I also think I keep all these fucking plants watered.
Mm.
With my endless well of deep, inconsolable tears. That's how. So it got me the job in the first place.
I like her. She's cool.
You're doing great. Chin up, Poppins.
Oh, Poppins. Yeah. That's a much, much more kind of fleshed out interaction between her and the new au pair.
Trying to earn time off for good behaviour then.
Have a lovely afternoon, Jamie, darling.
Oi. You cheeky little shit.
Darling.
Ah. Oh, you motherfucker. The music got me. If that sound effect hadn't come up, I genuinely would not have known that that thing was there. The music got me. My writing would have protected me from that. Yeah.
Not too much, or they'll come to take you away.
Who will?
The food police.
The
For
food
assault and
police.
buttery.
Otherwise known as Gordon Ramsay.
Oh my god.
Might I have a word?
Yeah, sure thing.
In private.
Oh, private. Now he believes in privacy, really.
For locking you in the wardrobe closet. For the mess in the hall. All of it.
Huh.
But most importantly, for being such a child about it. Being around Flora, I sometimes forget myself.
Oh, we got her flowers.
Wow.
Isn't that
That's
lovely?
It's such a draining thing. Dealing with children.
Oh god. Just why is this boy so Okay, I think he's definitely the one that's intentionally that I'm kind of more sus of. Then, oh, for
Little shit.
fuck's sake. He destroyed the rose bush?
Fucking shit. Hey, he's just a kid. I'm gonna kill him. I swear to God.
No, hey.
I have a way of doing things, and I don't like people messing about in my garden.
No, you're right. You're right. I'll talk to him.
Of course. Look, could we just go back to the bit where you were acting mental and I had to talk you down?
Seems like the natural order of things. So he literally, he picked out a few nice ones for her and then just massacred the rest of the bush, really?
Good day. Great day. Oh. Now,
Decent day,
I've got a little
let's be honest.
surprise. Any game you like.
We'll be back in our beds before too long. Can't be out of our rooms too late.
We won't.
Hide and seek,
No, not in this
hide
house.
and seek,
No,
sure.
not hide and
Is
seek.
that alright with you, Miles?
please.
Not in a house like this. Not with occurrences like these. Not hide and seek. The lights are off. Why are the lights off? Who plays hide and seek in the dark? In a house like this? Plague Doctor. Don't trust the Plague Doctor. Oh, who's that?
You aren't down here, are you? This wing is off limits, game or not.
I was gonna say, they didn't go into the old wing, did they? The forbidden wing? I feel like this game is just one giant trap. Flora intentionally set this game up as a trap to get her to explore more of the house and run into stuff. What? Huh? What? Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. That's illegal. Flora, look out. Did she really just shush the gut? Did she really? Just, oh, good God.
I'm supposed to be looking for you, and this wing
I'm
is off.
going to stop counting.
Ease up.
Oh, he's choking. He's choking. No, he's choking her out.
1, 2, 3.
Oh God. So this boy chokes people out and Flora can tell ghosts to just shut the fuck up, really? These are some very peculiar kids. These are very peculiar kids. Oh God. Oh, face, face, face. Who are you? I think, wait, wasn't he the guy in the photo? He looks eerily similar to the guy in the photo.
I don't feel so good.
Oh, is he gonna turn to dust now? Oh no, he's gonna collapse. Oh, he's gonna full on collapse. No, forget dusting.
In the window. Same guy as yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, he was the guy on the parapet. He was the same guy on the parapet.
Hey! He's awake.
Who the hell is he? Who is he? Oh, good God. Oh. So yeah, I mean, this seemed like a fairly packed episode. I think once it got into the Miles story and then the Miles kind of backstory and everything, I was fully expecting it to be an episode solely focused on him. And it's like, like I just kind of like I also like ignore like how I try and focus so much on a story and on the episode itself that I forget how much of the episode is happening. Like I forget how much like how far into the episode we are. Like whether it's been like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever. And I think this is meant to be like then this being like the kind of limited run series that it is. It's meant to be like an hour per episode at least, or something like that. So I try not to focus on the time. I try not to focus on the time. So then easily, to me, it can easily feel like half an hour has already been an hour, or like 20 minutes has already been like 45 minutes or something. So because of that, I think because of like we delved into Miles' backstory from the beginning, and because of how deep into that they were going, I figured, oh, this might be an episode solely focused on Miles, and then maybe even after this one, we'll get another one focused on Flora. So maybe actually like 2 episodes actually focused on the kids and actually kind of helping us kind of understand what like how they are the way they are, and where they're at now compared to where they were at before, and starting with Miles too. But no, they actually did manage to kind of pack kind of 2 kind of like a few kind of character pieces all into one episode, which happened fairly concisely and really nicely. So I can definitely appreciate that. So yeah. And I think, speaking of Flora quickly, we spent pretty much the entirety of last episode hearing her constantly call everything perfectly splendid, like it was her kind of catchphrase almost. It was actually just her way of everything she liked, she would describe as perfectly splendid. But then the one thing she does not like, and arguably with good enough reason, the cellar. The one thing she does not like, the cellar. She pretty aptly names that as perfectly dreadful. That's perfectly dreadful. It's perfectly dreadful. It's a cellar, and it's a creepy. There's little to no light, and there's all sorts of horrid junk down there that can easily be possessed and manipulated by spirits and demons and whatever and what have you. But that like the cellar itself is the home of all evil in that house potentially. So that has been appropriately named perfectly splendid, but perfectly dreadful by Flora. So it's good to learn that like for her it we don't know yet if it's an actual spectrum of different labels, but so far she's actually come with like polar opposites to everything she likes is perfectly splendid, everything she doesn't like is perfectly dreadful. So it's good to know that she actually has those 2 different options to describe things she does and doesn't like. So that was neat. But then we did have some cool flashback stuff, or interesting flashback stuff with Miles and being in his boarding school and everything. So I think I'm gonna kind of take an educated guess and say it was like a Catholic one. I think definitely religious, without a doubt religious, with the priest and thing, and then studying the Bible and all that kind of stuff. So like an all boys boarding school. I don't really think that like I'm not really sure you can get any mixed boarding schools. I think they are either all boys or all girls and stuff, which kind of has its own stuff, But yeah, I think that those are always like one or the other, like and like rarely ever mixed. I think his one was like an all boys school. And yeah, so they were studying Bible stuff, just by simple Bible stuff. I think I didn't fully process the story that the teacher was actually telling them, like the one about like the 3 gospels, so like 3 different accounts, 3 different dudes, one story but 3 different versions of the same story and all that kind of stuff. And then something about like something about demons leaving men, leaving a select number of men, either 2 or 1 depending on who you ask, and then going into an actual like a selection of pigs. And then I think God like murdered the pigs, which like GG. So God, one of them murdered the pigs because then they were possessed by the demons or something. So then I think for the most part, like most of what I took from that story was also like actually even Miles inquiring about the element of choice and the element of actual like free will and stuff involved in that kind of a process too. So and even like the teacher himself actually like reinstating the fact that like no matter what happens, people are compelled. People are compelled. I mean, the compulsion. I think, is it compulsion? I think compulsion. Compulsion or compulsion? I think it's compulsion. Compulsion sounds more right. Compulsion sounds more right. So I think the compulsion to be involved in something like that. I think the priest was kind of instating that people naturally just have compulsion. So even if they do bad things, they're usually compelled to do it. And they're kind of like, I think the choice can also come through as a part of manipulation too. So I think I instantly kind of like knowing what Miles and Flora have been through and what they've actually been doing now so far too. I think I kind of connected that back to like them being compelled to communicate and with the spirits and actually doing all this stuff too. Like so like their trauma and their suffering and their kind of and seeing as they're still kids too, their inability to process this in like the right ways and the proper ways, and to actually kind of also articulate themselves in ways that the right people can understand, makes them pretty easy pickings for the ghosts too. So I think it makes them easy pickings for any kind of any haunting, any kind of even like any kind of negative experiences, and also like any kind of control the spirits might want, so then they kind of are then manipulated into doing things for them, or manipulated into working with them to terrorize their au pairs and everything. I mean, so far it's just been the nanny. So far it's literally just been the au pair who's actually suffered any backlash, like no signs of Owen or Jamie or Hannah suffering any kind of thing. They just kind of get on with it. I mean, to be fair though, they don't stick around for the night. I think that's the one advantage. That's the one advantage they have. Their jobs are all taking place during the day, where the ghosts and spirits won't be as prominent, they won't be as active. But then, with Dani being like a live-in, she's there day and night, so then she has a relatively peaceful day left to process the events of the previous night, and then the following night just provides her with a whole new basket of utter shit to have to deal with. So that kind of stuff, and I think it was like an interesting journey, actually trying to kind of understand exactly what he was taking in and how he was processing that kind of stuff, as well as the actual kind of the verses and the stories he was actually being taught to, and how it was actually being. Because I think, because I feel like growing up in I think actually like attending a school like that too, I feel like maybe I think especially being raised and going attending a religious school in general as well. I think not even. I mean, I guess in this context also particularly Catholic. Religion would be the majority of the kind of technique and kind of source used whenever they help you for anything. If you go to them with anything, then they will likely use religion and stuff like a lot to actually try and help you through things. And I think it's it's very, very one-sided and very biased. So I think it's I think maybe in this particular case, it's maybe Miles himself could also be misinterpreting some of the lessons they're trying to teach him, but then also it's the fact that maybe religion isn't the answer he needs. Maybe he actually needs something a bit more philosophical, a bit more something appropriately therapeutic too. Maybe Bible verses and mantras are not what he needs, and it's not personally the right technique for him. So maybe I think maybe that could also be an issue. But then throughout the episode, he still kind of struggled, and he still had bouts of different kind of accidents and different kind of happenings. He literally fell out of a tree of his own choice too. He actually stood up then, and he actually did that. He actively let go of the branches, and actually just kind of didn't necessarily jump off, but then he just kind of accepted the natural push of gravity down to earth and everything. So he just kind of he literally just kind of stepped off the branch and then let gravity do the rest. So I was worried it would be a lot worse, but then also given this was going to be 6 months ago too, I figured okay, it's either a very small injury, or it might be maybe multiple injuries that just kind of heal very, very quickly over time too, over the course of 6 months too. So yeah, I think it said 6 months ago, but I think that whole segment of flashbacks too, I can't tell if that took place over the course of the 6 months or if it actually happened fairly quickly. Because if it had happened over time, then I feel maybe that would have been mentioned too, you've been here 6 months now, and you've already caused us much trouble. But then, I think I don't know if that actually was the case. I think each time something happened, especially him maybe falling. I think him falling. I thought okay, maybe they can just treat that at the school. But then the other stuff, him getting in a fight and him killing the bird and him doing the more kind of harmful, kind of actually externally dangerous stuff. I felt this might be proper grounds to actually send him home. So then maybe that's why he's been sent home from school. So then I thought, if this is actually set 6 months ago, and then maybe down the line he actually does, he repetitively does more and more concerning kind of things, and eventually he gets to catch up to the present day, and he actually gets sent back and everything. So there was that. But yeah, so he but then he also received the letter from Molly. Molly, I think. I don't know why I'm thinking Molly. No, that's another show. That's a name from another show. I was thinking of another show. Thinking of another show. No, he received the letter from Flora. And it was actually more of a drawing. I think a drawing of presumably of her and him, and I think maybe in the back someone too. Don't know who the person might have been in the back. I think maybe Jessel. I think I've been wondering if maybe we've actually if we've seen her before in this, if there's meant to be a glimpse of her in this that I just kind of missed out on. I'm wondering maybe the ghost that we saw actually walking across in the hallway, that maybe it could have been Jessel, because I first thought Flora, but then it was then definitely intentionally shown to be a ghost with the blurriness and distant shot and everything, and then Flora was also in the attic at the time. So I'm wondering maybe also the woman we saw in the photo, that could have been Miss Jessel too. So logically speaking, then the guy in the photo with her would have to be the guy that broke her heart too. So yes, and then I think maybe in the drawing too, maybe Flora still like missing Miles and still missing Miss Jessel. She then actually wrote, she actually drew Rebecca into the background too, and then actually captioned the photos "Come Home." So yeah, both Flora and Miles just kind of struggling to process that kind of trauma and that kind of tragedy and everything. So they just kind of, like they've been separated. And I think Flora is understandably missing her brother, and she doesn't want to have to go through this alone. But then Miles is just kind of, I think Miles is understandably the older brother too, so he's kind of like, he's also kind of dealing with this in his own way, but then it's also like he's not really getting the right kind of help, and he's not really kind of he's not being given the right resources to process this, and he's just kind of being given different kind of quotes and verses and stuff that aren't really kind of fitting into his process. So because of that, then he ends up actually going even further. I think in the end, it does kind of feel more and more like, oh, he's actively trying to get sent home, because then he saw the letter, he knows that Flora wants him back, and he's actively trying to get himself sent back home again. And it's kind of like maybe even kind of like a message too, like, okay, this stuff isn't what I need. Bible verse. I think Bible verses do, and he processes those in a different way too. But then it's also like not the way that the teacher actually expects him to actually understand it, or the way that he expects him to put it into action, or anything. So there's that. So yeah, then afterwards, I think he even seemed to have like a good enough friendship to, he had like one friend. I think we don't know how many friends he had, but like he only had one friend who actually communicated with him. The other boys just kind of, I think, I was concerned, right? I was concerned. I was wondering, maybe he got picked on. I was concerned about any kind of bullying or like, like any cases of him being picked on that might be occurring, and maybe the other boys kind of like bullying him for what he lost, or for what happened, or for like just kind of just thinking that he was someone worth bullying, or someone who was like worth making a victim of. So I was really concerned that he'd have some extra added trauma from having lost people, and then also having being picked on at the school too. So I thought, oh god, I really don't have it in me to deal with any kind of bullying today as well. But then no, luckily, like, none of that happened. He only had he only had one friend, or he only had one friend who actually talked to him. The other boys just minded their own business and kind of went their own ways and everything, which was far more respectable than any other kind of like negative kind of behavior towards him. So that was cool. But then he had like one friend who talked to him, and then like one friend who tried to coax him down from the tree before he hurt himself, and that didn't work. And then that's the very same friend who was considerate enough that same night to actually let him have the bottom bunk, so he didn't have to actually climb with like one arm and finagle himself up to the top bunk and everything. So a really cool friend, and he even assured him like, anything he needed, he would be there for him. So he had friendship, some friendship, which admittedly may not have lasted all too long, because that same friend, the very next day, he fought him, he picked a fight with him of his own accord, completely unaggravated, and then he ended up, I think Miles can choke people out too. He choked out the kid. He actively choked out the kid for like a good few seconds before he woke up, and so he actively has that kind of strength to choke people out too. And he even tried it with Danny later on in the episode. So just this boy is just he's something else. He's really something else. He choked that boy out, and then faced further kind of said like he faced suspension from this. I think that was my first clue then. So maybe he actually gets suspended from school and just sent home early before the end of the term or something, and then he actually, like, that's the reason he's home early. But then no, he still managed to stay behind after that. So that was like another thing, and I think that was when he was reminded of the existence of, I think, a poor bird. He was reminded of, I think Miles was then reminded of the existence of the bird, and then later that night the bird would die a horrible, brutal attack, completely unaggravated too. The bird was probably most likely minding his own business, and then Miles snuck into his cage, and there's that. But then I think him not really responding, or not really kind of registering when, I kept on wondering, especially when the priest was the teacher was actually talking about like feeling remorse and feeling guilt and feeling those kinds of actual kind of like negatively backlashing emotions. I was wondering, like, maybe his inability to process his own grief might actually like end up with like actually corrupting his other emotions, or corrupting his other emotional processes, so that like that way he doesn't actually feel grief, or he doesn't actually feel kind of any kind of like remorse from hurting people, like even if he's not killing them, but actually like starting fights and choking them out and everything, like maybe he just doesn't actually feel any pain or any kind of remorse from it, like he doesn't wish he couldn't do it. And then even after he killed the bird, even after he killed the bird, he was sorry he didn't do worse. He regretted not doing worse. Like all he did was break the neck and then leave it on the podium. But then he actually he said, "Oh, I'm sorry I didn't do worse. I'm sorry I didn't chop off its head and just dig into its guts and have it ripped open and then burn its corpse." Like he was sorry he didn't absolutely just massacre and brutalize that bird in the worst ways possible. So I think it really does kind of also make me wonder, like, it's the addition of him not being able to actively talk to anyone about his trauma, and also the fact that maybe, I mean, maybe not this early, like maybe this only happens, like maybe the kind of manipulation from spirits only happens once he actually goes back to Bly, but then his inability to actually process his own grief actually leads to corrupting his other kind of emotions, and him kind of like not being able to actually say exactly what he feels, or maybe him thinking one thing but then also kind of processing that in the wrong way too. So like he, just like I think even like the narrator said, like no one could ever really kind of figure out why Miles did what he did. They could never really understand what his motives are or what his reasoning was. So it's really kind of a mystery that you can only really guess, or maybe even one that they'll kind of hint at further on down the line once more kind of suspicious stuff starts happening. But I think this kind of did that whole flashback segment as a whole. It just kind of gave off like a good enough indicator as to where it all starts and how it all kind of develops and stuff, and showing how he is during that kind of time period, and then how he eventually builds himself up to being sent back home by kind of doing all this stuff. And I think it also like could definitely also be a case of like him being like a relatively normal and very, very happy and usually kind of comfortable and civil kind of student, who then naturally gradually descends to two tragedies. I think by the time he was in during the time that he was in school, his parents had died abroad, and also his au pair had died. Jessel had actually died at the house too. So yeah, I think Flora was on that found him too. Flora found the body, and then Jamie found Flora. So Miles wasn't there at all. So I think him hearing all this news, and even the teacher actually acknowledges that too. Like, you've lost more than any child ever should have to lose, especially like this early in your life too. So I think he's really just kind of like, the process of grief is just not really agreeing with him. It's not really going well for him. So then, because of that, I think it's all of these other emotions and all these other kind of thought processes and actual kind of processes in general just kind of being corrupted for him, and things are not really going well. So then, because of that, I think he just kind of he struggles to straight up say that he wants to leave. Maybe also because he doesn't really feel like he has a good reason. But then also like over time, like he lets all these other he allows all of these other compulsions over him to actually get the better of him, and he commits all these other kind of harmful acts and everything. So yeah, he just I think with enough kind of hardship, he just kind of becomes like a bit of a, I don't want to say complicated, but I think, like, for lack of a better term, kind of complicated kind of child and everything. Like, he just kind of becomes like a child who actually needs more help than like anyone at the school can really offer him and everything. So, and it makes him ripe for the ghost. Like the spirits would be perfectly happy with someone who does actually harm people like that, and actually does kind of give in to those kinds of violent tendencies. So makes him like a perfect candidate for some spiritual manipulation. So yeah, Miles even mentioned, it was like a tragedy. It was a tragedy what happened to the pigs in the end. Then, isn't it? Like if they were demonically possessed and stuff like that happened. So then yeah, I think he's also going to kind of taking that to wonder, like, maybe like on the one hand, it's like, demonic possession is seen as what makes you do bad things, and that compulsion is what drives you forward to say yes and to then allow more bad things to be done in your name, but then blaming on the demons, and then also demonic possession actually gets punished by whatever happened to the pig. So then he's thinking about, like, I think he could also be thinking about, like, maybe whether or not he actually did these things because he wanted to, or maybe it is because like there's like a deeper anger, like a deeper darkness in him that's been manifested, that's actually wanting to do this stuff. And then he's a kid, he just doesn't know how to actually think about this stuff, and like thinking about like this kind of like this story on top of the way he's actually kind of dealing with this loss and all these losses, and actually dealing with the loneliness of that, and actually the mourning, and actually knowing that Flora's out there alone and everything. So he's just like a kid with a lot on his plate. He's a kid with a lot on his plate, and I think he's just not really being given exactly like for him personally, like personally the most appropriate of resources to actually deal with his his pain and everything that he's actually dealing with. So that could be another possibility. They have a cellar. I think I already covered this well enough. I think just before, like I think either during the reaction or just after the reaction. But they have a cellar. It was actually like talking about when I was talking about Flora's perfectly dreadful kind of thing. So they have a cellar. A doll's head moved. I think they've had shots like that too. I think in the last episode it was actually the shot with the plague doctor. The plague doctor was also in this, but he didn't really do much, so that was a relief. But in the last one, I think we saw the plague doctor in the background, and even as Dani walked away, the plague doctor's kind of mask just moved to kind of follow her movement. I think that was the first time of that thing coming alive. And then in the basement too, again, it's the lingering shots. The lingering shots are always the perfect tell that something in the background is going to change, and it's going to happen after the character leaves, and then the room is free to manipulate its own interior to whatever it wishes, and to actually then to start exhibiting creepy behavior. So it's the lingering shots, the lingering camera shots, and then the close kind of slow zoom ins and everything. If you want to get technical, that is. But then that shot then kind of like those shots always prepare me. Any well framed background shots and lingering shots, they always prepare me for some kind of jump scare or some kind of creepy behavior about to happen. I think in this one, the one jump scare that happened, I actually wouldn't have, like, if it was not for the music, Dani's gasp might still have gotten me. Dani's gasp might still have gotten me, but then I was actually busy writing something down, and then the actual music kind of jumped up, and then that got me, and then I looked up to see Dani gasping, and then that, I think I just called like the split second of her like opening the thing. I think opening or closing the actual door, the kind of door with the window on. And again, it's only ever reflective stuff. It's only ever windows or any kind of reflective surfaces that she actually sees it on. So I caught it at the last second, and then I knew, oh yeah, it's that thing with the giant glowy eyes and everything. So I think I honestly wouldn't have caught. I think if it wasn't for the music, I think Dani's gasp definitely would have caught me. But then I actually just wouldn't know what she's gasping at. But then knowing it's a door with a window, I would have been able to actually presume, oh, must have been a glowy eyed kind of figure then. So yeah, she keeps seeing them. So they must have an interesting story if they pop up in. I think they have an interesting story, and they pop up in Windows too. I think those are the only ones we've actually seen popping up in Windows too. I think like everything else we've seen popping up in actual kind of physical manifestation. But I think only the glowy-eyed person shows up in actual windows and reflections and everything. So it makes me wonder if they're actually kind of trapped in some kind of mirror dimension or something, or I don't know. But I think that was the only really kind of jump scare I could really think of. Everything else had like a slow enough kind of build up to it to make you aware that it's actually in the background somewhere, or it's actually doing something kind of creepy and everything. Like nothing else really made me jump. I think definitely creep factor in this episode. So there was that, and then then the doll's head moved in the basement, so in the cellar. So there was that. So I think that means cellars and basements always bad news. Cellars, basements, and also sheds, any kind of external, anything outside like a safe, anything outside of a safe zone. However, outside of a designated safe zone is automatically, just by default, becomes like a bad place that you just must never go towards. So I feel like in all honesty, I feel like the cellar and the old wing should both be considered like forbidden sections of the house that no one should ever have to go into. So so the cellar has it, and then I think the ghost. So I think the music box got toppled over, and then it showed. I think it showed like a picture of. I think it showed a picture of a man and a woman. I'm going to assume that the woman was actually Rebecca Jessel as well from before, the previous kind of the previous au pair. Then the man with her would have been the guy that she fell in love with, who then skipped town with some money and broke her heart and everything. So then there was that, and he also has not been proven to be a good guy. He was in the window. He's also like a window figure. I think he had one physical manifestation on the parapet. He was the same guy from the parapet. And I think he is also played by the same guy who played Luke Crane in Hill House. He played Luke Crane in Hill House. So they're the same actor. I think his name is Oliver something, or I think Oliver something. But he has now come back to play opposite Victoria again in this, and he was the guy on the parapet, and he also now is the guy. So I think he definitely kind of dresses well, and he actually looks like that kind of guy. But he's also I think in this episode especially, he was particularly like a window dwelling ghost, and he has the creepiest smile. I think as soon as he smiled, I was expecting his face to morph into that of the actual glowy person. I was expecting him to make some kind of noise or jump or something, or expect his face or his eyes to expand and start glowing, like them to become that. I was fully expecting a jump there, but no, he just kind of he didn't even walk up. He literally just kind of like floated up into the mirror and actually came into view and everything. And then he actually just had the creepiest kind of like, the hands in his pocket, kind of smug smirk and the creepy smile and everything. And he had that. Then he kind of disappeared into the night again, and then even when Miles collapsed too, and Miles collapsed, the guy actually came back to the window, and this time he was looking, like Miles was the only one who noticed him, so that guy was then looking exclusively at Miles, so, you know, I mean, this feels more like a recap of what happened. I mean, in case you missed it in the episode or in the reaction, that's what happened to him, so, yeah, I mean, again, I think, given what kind of, like, given what he did, and also the consequences on the people, given what he did and also the effect of his actions on the people around him, I'm expecting maybe like a backstory episode where he's just kind of shown to be not like a fully faithful guy, like maybe actually like not even fully faithful either. So he like while he's there, he's interested in Jessel, but then when he like if he's actually given the opportunity to leave or to do like if he's given the opportunity to leave or if he finds like an opportunity to leave and go do something better, then he clearly kind of takes it and he just kind of runs with it and he just doesn't really care that much about Jessel, and maybe it's also like maybe it's also like a situation where she cares about him a lot more than he cares about her. Like he thinks of her as just some kind of like a seasonal like a one time thing or like nothing that serious. But then she is so like deeply in her feelings for him that she then actually kind of takes it to be more than what like she gives him more than he gives her, and it's going to be that kind of story too. So that kind of backstory might be heartbreaking to watch too, like seeing her actually fall so in love with someone only for him to just kind of walk away like it's nothing. So not looking forward to that. But yeah, those are the ghosts. Those were the ghosts, and those were the ghosts and the spiritual kind of appearances in this episode. So and Flora, and I think there was like the ghost on the floor too. I think that one got me by surprise too, because I think I heard the noise and I was wondering like maybe there's actually someone standing in the corner making weird noises, but then it was like 5-10 feet away from her, like a body laying on the ground, actually slowly getting up and making noise, and I was like, wow, okay, that is oh god, okay, my books fell. I was wondering if that was going to be a case of wait, what was my so that ghost was like 5-10 feet away from us. I was like, it was like very very close and very, very vocal and everything, and it's like like Flora didn't. I think it was a bit loud for Flora to miss it. I think almost anyone could have actually detected it and actually had like some kind of reaction almost immediately, but then Flora didn't seem to. But then even I don't know. Flora is some kind of Flora is like I think that scene alone kind of passes off Flora to be a ghost whisperer, but on the sassiest level. Like she's not a ghost whisperer in the sense of like oh, excuse me, can you be quiet, please? It's like the ghost starts humming along and starts making the usual ghost noises, and then she just like shh, and just goes back to doing what she's doing. Like she literally shushed a ghost, and then the ghost actually said like, okay, understandable, have a nice night, and just went straight back to afterlife napping or whatever. Like she literally shushed a ghost. Anyone with that level of sass can easily survive any kind of horror movie. Like anyone with that level of control or that level of authority over any spiritual kind of deity or entity or whatever can easily survive a horror movie. So I think Miles would just choke the killer out. Like put Miles in any situation, he would just choke them out. He would easily run and hide and then just do a sneak attack and choke. I mean, he damn near choked Danny out too. He found her and he actually damn near choked her out. So he can easily just choke the killer out, and then Flora would just be like, you're being terribly rude. I'm trying to hum a song here, and you're interrupting with your completely out of tune, ghostly murmuring and everything. So just please, just shh, and then just be back to her usual stuff. So I that I think that might be. I mean, with Miles, his behavior is like a lot more concerning, and it's like a lot more like don't know where it's going to end up, or don't know where it's really going to lead him. But then with Flora, it's just like this the wish I had half the sass and half the confidence that girl has towards. So if you deal like that, if you deal with any scary situation like that, if you have like a killer taunting you or like a ghost kind of making like scary noise, and you just turn around and be like shh, and then carry on with your day and then carry on doing what you're doing. So I mean Flora has been kind of shown to have some sense of like very very peculiarly childlike connections to spirits. I think maybe she just has kind of experience dealing with them, but either way, that was the best thing. That was one of the best things I've seen. It's one of the best scenes I've seen. One of the best scenes I've seen of actually having a kid deal with horror kind of stuff. Like it's just like a child actually turning onto a ghost and being like, shh, and then going back. I'm gonna be rewinding that and actually watching that again just to see how it unfolds and seeing exactly how. Because then you know, again, like the ghost actually, I think her doing it is one thing. The ghost actually responding appropriately is another. Like the ghost literally actually then, you know, is like just actually goes back down. It actually follows her request. It actually follows her orders. It actually follows her orders and actually goes back down again. Actually, just kind of ceases the murmuring. So like, I just just teach me how to do that. I mean, not that I would ever actually willingly put myself in a situation with ghosts like that, but you know, that's still an awesome power to know that you hold over the dead. So, yeah. And then arguably the more kind of sweet and lovely and wholesome and kind of funny kind of parts of the episode, Danny and Jamie. We got a lot more fleshed out, a lot more interactive kind of Danny and Jamie content in this episode, and it was fun. It was fun. Again, I won't lie. I kind of get a vibe from Jamie. A kind of vibe. Like I get kind of vibe from Jamie. You know, like I kind of vibe. You know, I mean, on the one hand, it seems way too obvious to not be true, but then on the other hand, it's like I really like. I mean, just to play it safe, I don't want to invest in it only to be disappointed in the end. But then also, it's like, you know, like I think she seemed a little. You know, she seemed a little bad, like just a little bit. But I mean, a little bit for now. Who knows how far she might go in the end? But you know, like for now, just like a little bit. You know, a vibe I totally dig. You know, I love that vibe. But yeah, I think you know, I mean, yeah, I think, and you know, she looks great in overalls. She looks great in overalls, and she sits how I sit half the time. So, you know, there's, you know, certain things you can't ignore. There's some things you can't really ignore or bypass, and stuff. So there's that. But then she also thinks Danny's pretty. I think if that's not like the clearest indicator, then I don't know what is. I really don't know what is. So she thinks Danny's pretty, and you know, just seems to get along well enough. And I think in this one, like she actually had some really peaceful and really kind of connected conversations with her too. Actually, like Danny, I don't know what Flora did. I think she went through like a suit. I think I'm assuming it was actually a suitcase of Danny's things. Like I think the clothes she had on actually fit her perfectly. I think those must have been her clothes, but then the glasses she had. I think those must have been Danny's or something. Or I think I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that scene too. I think those must have been Danny's glasses too. But whatever Flora did was actually enough to actually kind of push whatever Flora did was enough to push Danny into some kind of panic attack. Where she had to leave the room and leave the house as a whole, and actually go outside and actually get some fresh air and everything. And then Jamie caught her and everything. So there was that, and then Jamie actually decided to take some time to actually talk some calmness and some peace and some kind of hilarity back into her too, actually making her laugh and making her smile and pulling her back away from the tears. And I think even though like some tears were kind of starting to get visible in Jamie's eyes too, but I think she was just kind of focusing on actually trying to make Danny feel better. So but that was a really sweet moment between them. So very much looking forward to any more of that kind of thing. But yeah, I think she just kind of took the time to actually talk. And I think it did definitely a lot more interactive compared to the last one. I think also with the last one too. I think maybe she's just not really great with introductions or great with highs or hellos or anything like that. Like she just kind of like I think she might be one that she might have just wanted to actually try and find herself in like a more natural place to have a conversation as opposed to actually having to do small talk. Maybe she's just not one for small talk or anything. So I think this one actually, she saw that Danny was in trouble and then actually offered her own kind of funny story to help lift her spirits and everything. So actually offered like a way of talking that she was more comfortable with and everything. So you know, could have also been about approaching Danny too. Could have also been about her kind of having troubles kind of approaching the pretty lady and actually trying to talk to her that way too. So who knows? I think only time will tell. So, but yeah, I think that scene was still kind of super cool to watch and super comfortable to watch and really sweet and everything. Then they kind of had like not necessarily an argument, but definitely kind of like a teeny, like the briefest kind of second long clash at the Rosebush too. Like I think Miles is just such a mixed kind of kid. He's like not even mixed. I think mixed is the wrong word. I think he's just so conflicting and he's so confusing at times. Like he definitely, you know, like I think he, you know, I mean, I figured there might be something up his sleeve when he actually wanted to have a talk with Danny in private, and even when he actually whispered stuff into her ear. And I think he's, again, like, the movements feel like he actually, he calls Jamie darling too, like the little shit actually calls Jamie darling, and then he actually tucks some hair really creepily behind Danny's kind of ear as well. Like, he just, like last episode with like watching Danny undress, and this episode with this, and then he, as a sweet enough gesture, he actually gets Danny some flowers, but then he massacred the rest of Jamie's rosebush. Like, he got like 3 or 4 perfectly splendid flowers for her, and then he turned it into a perfectly dreadful fucking rosebush and pissed off Jamie, rightfully so, in the process too. So, yeah, seeing Jamie pissed off like that, it's like, yeah, that little shit, I'm gonna kill him. I'm actually gonna end his life today for fucking with my rosebush. And then, I think not just her being Ghana, but I think her being Ghana, but then also her being proud of her own work, and actually like her being proud of her own work and being comfortable doing what she does. I think she takes a lot of pride in her greenery. So then actually seeing that, it was obviously Miles that actually went and did this to her fucking rosebush of all things, just kind of really tilted her off the edge. But then of course Danny being Danny, she manages to somewhat talk her down and everything, which is cool. And then Jamie can't really have that kind of shifting of scales, or like that kind of shifting of actual kind of conversational roles. So then she kind of would prefer to stick to Danny being the one having a breakdown, and then Jamie talking her down and actually making things better. Because she wants to be the one that makes Danny feel better and actually makes her happier and everything. So again, some things you just can't ignore. Some things you just cannot ignore. But I think they have really great chemistry. They have really, really great chemistry so far. So I am only happier to see them together. I'm only happier to see them together and to actually see them developing this and blossoming this and seeing where this goes and seeing how they are in the future with each other. So that's really cool. And I think I think because of how she incorporated the word "we" into her as an actual adjective, I think the only kind of region that I'm aware that actually happens in is Scotland. So I thought, oh, maybe she might be Scottish. But then the more I heard her talk, I was like, no, I think the Scottish. I think I've watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. enough to actually know what a Scottish accent should sound like, and actually does sound like. So I think there's actually I think the we could still be like not exclusive to Scotland, but still other regions. But then the accent itself did sound oddly like Liverpudlian. I think Liverpudlian is actually like the word to use there too. I think the accent did sound like I'm actually like more accurately enough from Liverpool. So maybe from there instead. So that was cool. Yeah, so she's Liverpudlian, and then she swears too. I love that about her. She's Liverpudlian. She wears denim. She has great hair. She sits funky, and she swears. Like, she's already one of my favorite characters, and she's already a mood throughout the episode. So can only imagine things are going to amplify from here. So yeah. Yeah, she's fun. Jamie's very fun. She's very, very fun. And yeah, she gets along well with Danny too. So, and then I think it's some very, very brief exploration of any kind of hints and any kind of signs of stuff between Owen and Hannah too. Owen not really wanting to answer whether or not he actually thinks that Danny is actually pretty as well, and then he's just kind of like lost for words and tongue tied, like Jamie said. But then I think it might have been James who actually kind of subtly mentioned towards like hints between him and Hannah, or even I think it was actually Hannah saying that like romances and love lives don't really last too long or too well at Bly. And I think they're definitely using Jessel's romance with the other guy as proof of that. But then yeah, I think Owen did get a bit flustered, and he did kind of seem to want to leave the table kind of quickly in. As a result of his kind of blushing and everything, and then he actually took the time to reassure Hannah that he only had eyes for her. As first, I think I am curious as to whether or not that is something that will be referenced or explored. I don't know if it's actually something that's actually happened before. I mean, he reassured her he only had eyes for her. So I think they did not mention any kind of history between him and Hannah. So I'm guessing that's something that is yet to be explored or yet to be kind of developed or expressed openly. So again, I'm guessing Owen's just kind of harboring like a secret little kind of crush on Hannah or something. So it's going to be really sweet to see. And I think they already get along great too. And I think it's going to be fun seeing if like that there is any kind of room for them, or if there's any kind of possibility for them. But then even if not, like just seeing how he is around Hannah should be fun enough to watch too. So Owen and Hannah, maybe just. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got from this. I think I feel like I've covered all my bases. Say that almost every time after I finish ticking off every bullet point I make, but I do feel like I've covered all my bases. So that's all of that. But yeah, a fun episode, a fun continuation, and I swear I will be continuing this a lot soon. I think it's not going to be an episode a year. I swear to you, it's not going to be an episode a year or anything like that. I'm going to be continuing this. I think I'm probably not going to finish this until after Halloween, but you know, so I mean, if you want the quicker, more kind of breezy and like quick, like the much swifter reactions, then Liam Duke has you beautifully occupied and provided and sustained over there. So make sure to go check out his reactions too. And all of his videos in general. He's a lovely guy with some great reactions. So you know, go support Dukey. But yeah, so I do hope to finish this like soon enough in time. I mean, I think like again, like this also is like a bit of a limited, like a bit more of a limited run series too. So I should kind of be able to get through it fairly quickly. But yeah, and then who knows what happens after this. So yeah, but I do promise to get through it a lot sooner and to actually keep these going and to actually finish the series with you guys and see or see what happens and enjoy it that way. So sorry it's taken so long, but I will I'll try my darndest not to severely disappoint you as much as I already have. So yeah, once again, my apologies, but hey, Bly Manor is back. Bly is back. So yeah, but that is pretty much all I've got from this episode. So that was The Haunting of Bly Manor, Season 1, Episode 2. So thank you guys so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is and what you are looking forward to in the coming episodes and how you feel about the story so far and all that kind of stuff. Once again, the full-length reaction will be available over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.